Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask us, and let's begin with the session. So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Xposure training on the Clients tab. We will be covering the entire Clients tab today, and we'll look at the different actions that are possible. Right now, you are able to see a table, and along with that table, there's a legend. What we have here are a few sample clients that we've created, and then you can see that there are several combinations of these icons over here. So I will explain what these stand for and what happens when you make a particular change to a client and how these things change automatically. Yes, we have a point from Eileen, and you can keep writing to us. We will address every point that you put in the chat, so don't worry about it. Just keep writing there. I'll continue with the session. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to create a new client. For that, if you're already into Xposure, for the KADREA members, it is kadrea.exposureapp.com. It's in the chat box. For KAR members, it is kar.exposureapp.com. And SOREB members can use SOREB. If you're taken to Interface Express, don't worry about it. Keep logging in and you'll be taken to Xposure. So let's create a new client. The first thing that you will be doing, I'll also be taking you through all these details and let you know why is it better that you keep all the details in here, so that then you can start creating your own database of clients and then start communicating with them, start sending out links using Xposure. So let's just quickly create a new client. Let me use my own email ID. So this email ID is your client's email ID. Please remember that. It's not yours. You enter the DRTS sign date. I can see that there are questions coming in and points coming in the chat room. If I'm not able to address that right now, don't worry about it. I'll come back to it at a later time. Okay, Darren has an answer for us. That's great. I'll come back to that in a bit. So let's enter street number. Let's enter the real street number. Okay, city Kamloops. The province and state, this is case sensitive and it needs to be just 2 characters. So make sure that you enter it this way. Zip code, it will take, align it back to the way it's supposed to be. Country is your full country name. Mobile phone, if I put my number, it will automatically align it. Oh, God. So it will automatically put it in order. If you have a website, you add that last contacted, say, suppose we was contacted yesterday, referral title, if there's any referral, if you want to remember the client, good client. These are notes that you can have. Now, when I click save, this is the stage you have to remember that you've just started creating a client and there's no PCS search attached to this client. So when you click save over here, the system's going to ask you whether you want to save this client with no PCS or MLS searching. Now, if you want to add a PCS search to this client, this is how you do it. Click cancel, go to PCS, and then you start creating the settings for this client for the PCS searches. So the first thing that you will come across is the username and the password. This is automatically generated by the system. Frequency of the emails that are going out. Here you can determine when do you want to have them sent out, and they will go accordingly. Right now, I don't want to send an email immediately, so I may select daily and the time that I want to set it at. So that's your basic settings. Here, you put in the client address. and not anything else. So for example, if there are multiple addresses that I want to send these emails to, which come back to one client, I can add that and click add, and then that email will be added to the receiver's list. Coming to the Realtor notification, here the email ID is supposed to be your ID. Right now you can see something else. It will be your ID when you start creating this new search for your client. So remember that here your email ID goes. If you enter your client's email ID, they will get that email twice. So this is your space, this is your client space. And now we start to create a new search. So we enter the search title. Now remember that the search title is going to appear on all the emails that go out to your client via PCS. So it'll be better if you have this search title well explained, like either in the description or in the search title. Now the search title space is character limited. So for example, if I'm looking at a client that I want to search homes for in Aberdeen, I would write it as Aberdeen homes. And then I'll put in the description, whatever the requirement of the client is, will go in here. Right now it's saying as active as no, because the client has not been activated yet. Allow the client to view search criteria. Now, previously we saw a table that had different icons in there. Now those icons are dependent on what checkboxes you select at this stage. If you allow the client to view the search criteria, whatever search you create right now will appear underneath the search title, and it will let the client know what are the criteria that you've selected for this particular search. Now, if you want the client to be a self-managed PCS client, you check this box. This means that the client will be able to change the search criteria at their perusal, and they will be able to search for more listings in that area. Depending on what you deem as feasible for that particular client, you can have this checked or unchecked. That depends on you. You can hide conditional listings or keep it unhidden. You can hide sold listings or not. All of these things can be set over here. Now we'll come back to those icons at a later point when we discuss the table. But right now, let's go to the next step, and that is queue listings. This option, if this option is selected, every time there's an email that is scheduled to go out to your client via PCS will come to you first, and then you can decide whether that email has to go out or not. So if you want to keep tabs on all the emails that go out to your clients before they actually go out, please keep this selected for this particular client. Otherwise, you can just keep it deselected. Let's go for Kamloops, Aberdeen, single family. Let's not include conditional. Active. Now, if the criteria is, say, 4 bedrooms, we have 10 of them. So at this stage, we've set the settings, we've created the client details. We can save it right now. Enter notification frequency, okay. So let's go and set the frequency to 11 a.m. daily. And let's try and click save. Okay. So it's, my search is gone. Let's try and create it quickly once again. Okay, and 4 bedrooms. Comes to 10. Let's try and click save now. Now, PCS search has been successfully saved for this client. As you can see over here, this is the client has been created for Aberdeen Homes. The date is here. The consent says no. The DRTS form date is there. The city, all the details that you have for this client, the email ID, everything will be stored in here. Now, this tick mark, the blue tick mark, says that it is an active PCS client. That means we've created a search for this client. As you can see, for the previous client, by the name of Sophie George, it has a different icon next to that. That is basically for a non-PCS client. That means that I've just saved details about Sophie in my database, but I haven't created a search for her. So that's what it means. In active PCS client. Now, if we have a client that has an active PCS search assigned to them, and if you want to get rid of that, you can just select that client. Right now, Matt Hardy just has one search assigned to it, so we can directly go into actions and we can deactivate search. When we deactivate the search, it basically turns into a non-PCS client, and now you can see that there's an X that comes over there. The moment I want to reactivate it, I hit actions again, and I activate that search for the client. And you can see that it's been now turned into an active PCS client. We have a question. Okay, can you not see my full screen right now? Is there an issue?
No, you can only see from web over.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen right now? Okay.
Yes.
There are some people who can see my full screen. I apologize if there's a problem at some end, but I've tried resetting it. If there's an issue, please let me know. So we saw that the different icons over here have a different meaning. All of those details are given in the legend over here. You can see that right now all the consent says no, because all of these are dummy clients that we've created, and we haven't really gone in and received that email and selected the consent to be yes for receiving PCS emails. So once you've created a new client and you send out the email for that client, do clients receive a notice? Yes, they do. They will know whenever they are active or inactive. Darren, if there's, okay, Joel has raised her hand. Joel, if you can unmute yourself and can answer that question, please. Are you able to unmute yourself, Joel? Okay, just give me a second, please. Joel, can you speak now? Are you able to? Okay. Okay, they will receive notifications. I thought Joel had an answer for that, something that she could add, but no, that's not the case. So they will receive notifications. Whatever changes you make over here, they will get notifications if they have received consent, if they have given consent to receive emails from the PCS system. If they haven't given consent and whatever changes you make, if they haven't really checked the first email that goes out with their username and password, then in this case, they will not be receiving an email. But if they've given consent and everything is going okay, they are assigned PCS. The moment you activate or deactivate or assign a new search, they'll be notified. So right now we saw the different PCS icons over here. At the time we were creating this client, let's go back and see what this search was. We did not select queue listings. We did not select allow client to change search criteria. Now, if we select this option, let's see what happens. That client has changed to a green new self-managed client. That means now the client has the power and the control to manage their own searches and receive listings at the frequency that you've set, whenever these emails are ready. Now, this will happen because you haven't selected the queuing option. So whenever there's an email that is supposed to go out, the email will go. But if you select that queuing option, it will first queue those emails and let you know. Now, if the client has made any change to the search at their end, and if they've changed any setting for themselves, that will appear as change self-managed. And otherwise, right now, because we have all these new samples created, it's showing as green. Otherwise, they will appear as blue. As you can see right now, it comes that there's another icon over here that is like binoculars. It's read-only. Previously, when we had this deselected, and this selected, save, you can see that it turns to read only. That means right now the client cannot see the search criteria. They cannot change the search criteria. They can only see the listings that you've sent them. We have another question. What does the icon in front of Trevor means? Okay, I'm coming to that point. This icon here essentially signifies that there are multiple searches assigned to this client. When you click on that, as you can see that there are two test searches that have been created, one for Finlay Street and one for Adams Street. One is an active search, but the client is read-only. I can change that for this particular search. I can change that for this search as well. This drop-down essentially means that. So whenever you have multiple searches, it will appear as a drop-down. You can go in, click on the search. Right now, if I select this, you will see that it changes the icon over there. Now you can see that Test Finlay has become a self-managed client. So this is what these icons stand for, and the legend is given clearly at the bottom. If you still have any questions regarding this legend, and if there's anything that you feel is going wrong and you're unable to understand what's happening, if this client is actually receiving emails or not, don't worry about it. Just look at the legend, and then you'll be able to know what that client really stands for and what those searches are. I have another question. The T column is basically, you can say that it stands for type. So this type essentially means it's a non-active PCS client. The type here is it's an active PCS client. And the view column essentially stands for what the client is able to view at their end. There are different ways in which you can create your searches, you know. Say, for example, I've created this search for a client and I've selected don't allow and queue listings. Let's see what happens then. So now you can see that there's a queue that comes up. That means that whenever, at whatever frequency you've set, this client will not receive any email. It will first come to you, and then you can give consent whether it has to go or not. The consent, again, I'm repeating, this will change to yes the moment your client responds to the initial login email. With a consent of yes, it will all change to yes, and you will know whether they're receiving emails or not. Now, whenever they receive a PCS email, that email is not going to be stored in the timeline. Now, I know I've said that they're not going to be stored, but this is especially for all the communication that goes out from your side to your client. Like, for example, if you sent an email with a set of listings to that client, you copy and pasted listings and you're sending that email to your client, all of that will stay here. But the sheer number of PCS emails that go out every day, it's not really going to be efficient for us to have all those details in the timeline. So that's why if you're not seeing all the PCS emails that go out on your timeline, that's the reason. But it's still going to hold all the critical information, all the important emails that you've sent from your side to your client over here. We have another question. What is the blue card in the T column? Okay. So the blue card in the D column, in the T column, as I mentioned before, is a non-PCS client. That means that Sophie George is somebody I know. I want to have, I met that person. I'm not sure if that person is going to be changed into a client or whether that person has not asked me to set up any search for her. So what I'll do is I'll come in and I enter all her details that I know, and I create a client for her. If tomorrow I have a discussion and she wants a particular search assigned to her, you can go back to that client, go to PCS, give the search settings, create a new search. Let's just create a new search and see what happens to that non-PCS client. Okay, let's just keep it like that and assign a search. Save. Now you can see that Sophie has changed into a read-only client with an active PCS search. Now if I have to deactivate the search, I go there, deactivate. Now she's become a non-active PCS client because she has a search assigned to her. Now I can go in and delete that search using the actions button, delete search. So now when we delete that search, the PCS is gone. She's gone back to become a non-PCS client. I hope that has answered your question. Sure. So those are the different types of clients that you can have. You can, I'm repeating this, but this is just for, we have another question. How do we view the portal results and do stuff or see what they have marked things? I'm not sure if I understand your question. If you can please elaborate a little, maybe I'll be able to help you, but we will come back to this question. Don't worry about that. So that's the way we set up different clients, different types of clients. If you have any questions regarding if there's a problem with any search or if you find any bugs, feel free to connect with us over that. Let's just go back and see all the different options that we have in the clients tab. We saw that we can create a new client and we saw the different steps that we take in order to do that. Right now, if we want to delete a client, let's, for example, delete the client that we just created, go to actions, delete the client. The system will ask you if you want to permanently delete it, deleted it. Let's go to the next option, that is email logon information. Now there's a chance that you must have created a client and the client would have received a PCS email, but it went to their junk or spam, and they are unable to find the login information. So you can resend that login information to a client by selecting that client, going to actions, and clicking on email logon information. Let's see if that happens. Are you sure you want to email login information to selected client? Okay, yes, email. The login information has been sent. So this email will go to me because that's my email ID. That's the second option that was there. A new search. If I have to create a new search for this client, you know that for multiple searches, it will appear as a triangle dropdown. You click on it and you will have multiple searches there. So you create a new search like that. Delete search, activate search. We saw what happens when we activate or deactivate search. It turns into an active or an inactive PCS client. Send an email. Now, you can just send an email to your client. You don't have to really go onto Gmail or any other platform. If you simply want to communicate something with your client, and this email is going to be in your timeline. So then you can also keep track of whatever's gone out, whatever you've communicated with your client. So right now it's selected the client email. When you select PCS, use PCS emails, all the email IDs that you entered at the time of creating this client. Remember when we entered the support KADREA email ID and we clicked on add and it moved to the other section, that means that that particular email ID would also be receiving all the PCS emails. If you select this, those email IDs will also receive this email. So that's what happens here. So from email, this is going to be your email ID. It's going to be prefetched and coming directly from the system. You don't have to change anything over here. Your display name, all of this is customizable, and you can send this email. Right now, we don't have, we've had requests for adding attachments, and all of that is, the feasibility of having all of this is being discussed. So we're trying to improve this platform the best we can, but if there is any suggestion that you would like something specifically, you can always write to us. Right now, we know that people want to add attachments here, and we are looking into the most feasible options for that. We have another point. Okay, people want attachments. That's great. We know that. And yeah, this is being looked into. So let's just go back to clients. There's another point. Will the email show coming from us or this address Xposure? It will go from your email address that shows in this box. Oh, sorry. You have to select a contact for that. So send an email. It will go from the email ID that you put in over here. If you, this will already be the email that your system knows. So if Xposure knows at the time of creating this client, if you entered your email ID as xyz@abc.com, it will be preset. It'll be coming there. And you can also change it if you like. So at this time, if you want to change it to your another email ID, you can do that as well. I hope that answers your question. Coming to the next option. So send an email, send DRTS form via email. Now, it really depends at what stage of communication you're in with your client. Depending on that, you may have several requests to send the DRTS form or to send an email. All of that can be taken care of with the actions button. You can also customize all emails that go to one client. Let's see what happens. Okay, you always have to select a client before you do that. Okay, So let's just customize emails for one client. Let's see what happens here. Customize email, PCS emails for Matt Hardy. That means all your PCS emails will go in this design fashion. So if you know that there's a client that you really are, you want that client to convert, and you want to make sure that you communicate effectively with that client, every time a PCS email goes out, you're not going to go in and change it every time a PCS email goes. So you want to come in over here, keep the subject like you want. Now, every time by default, when a PCS email goes out, it says PCS website updated. If you want to change this to something like this, or with your name in there, but it's already going to have your name. Maybe you want to add the specific number of bedrooms that they desire. Anything, that can be anything. You can change it over here. So that subject goes in here, your message content. If you want, you can also add your signature differently if you like. If you only want them to know your private email, whatever that is, all of those changes can be done at this stage. And every time your client receives a PCS email, it will go in this form. Let's just preview this. This is what the email is going to look like. We changed the subject, the message. We didn't change it. It's going to be standard. We didn't change the signature. It's going to be standard, but that's the email that's going to go out. It's also going to be having an unsubscribe link. When they unsubscribe, it will change the setting to changed self-managed client, or it will change it to an inactive PCS client. So that is that about customizing emails for one client. Now, right now, people must be creating a different set of database. They must be storing their client information elsewhere. And if in need, you need to export your clients in an Excel sheet, you will have to select all the clients that you want to export, then hit actions, and then click on export clients. Let's see what happens there. All the information that you've entered is going to be used. The CSV file is a file format that will open in a normal Microsoft Excel, any Microsoft Excel. Let's just click export data, and that has saved. Just move my. So that basically, I'm unable to move. Okay, yeah, now I can open it. So you can see that all the details have been converted into an Excel sheet. That's how you export your clients. If you're saving them elsewhere, if you want to export them into a different, if you're using MailChimp for something else and you need a CSV file for that to upload your clients, all of that can be done using export clients. You can also create a client report. Let's see what happens there. So it's basically going to give you a list of all the clients that you've created. It's also going to give you the status. You can use it for multiple purposes. If you're working as a team, you can keep a track of whatever's happening, all the notes, everything in the client report. So it can come in really handy if you're especially working with a team and you want to let your peers know what's currently going on with your clients. So that's create the client report. Remove Realtor notifications. Now, every time an email goes out to a client, we saw that at the time of creating that client, let's just go back and see. PCS settings. And you see that there is a Realtor notification here. Every time an email goes out, you're going to get a notification. So in this case, there may be a chance that you don't want that. So let's just change that. You don't want emails, whatever goes to your clients, remove Realtor notifications. Remove Realtor notifications, remove. Now, this particular client, if they receive any email right now, they are a non-PCS client. You're not going to receive any notifications. It's not going to change anything really, but yeah, that's what it essentially does. That's the functionality it's supposed to offer. So that's remove Realtor notifications from one client. View unsubscribes. Let's check that out. Select all of them. Is not a PCS client. Yes, they are. Let's check for these. Okay, right now nobody's unsubscribed, and that is why we are not getting any names in there. But if someone has unsubscribed, all that notification will be in your view unsubscribes thing. So we had a question a while ago, and that was if someone changes anything, you will essentially always know whatever is happening at the client's end. The control will always be with the realtor with respect to the kind of searches that they allow the clients to change, whether they are able to see the kind of criteria that the realtor has chosen. All of that control really rests with the realtor. But if there is something that's happening at the client's end, if they're making any changes, if they're unsubscribing to you, all of those details will be recorded by the system and it will be shown to you. So you don't need to worry about that. If you want to change any date, the DRTS sign date, you can always go back to the client and then go to settings and change all of those things. You can do that using the actions button as well. This is for people who have just moved from a different MLS onto Xposure. You can import all the client details that you've already stored in that system, and that will be replicated into Xposure. Let's see what that happens. At this stage, you will have to choose the Excel sheet or the CSV file that you get from Matrix. At the time of exporting those, exporting that criteria, you will, I'm not sure how it works on Matrix, but you will be given an option to choose CSV or Excel. Whatever that is, choose that. And here it says CSV, so make sure that it's CSV, and then you'll be able to upload those clients to your database. We have another point coming in. Can the lots and acreage be changed to separate searches, lots or acreages? This is, we'll have to go a little.
Good news.
Sorry.
He has agreed to reduce.
Sorry, there's someone who is unmute. If you can please make sure that you're muted right now, that'll be great.
He's kicked in 5, and Alan and I are paying the rest. And so it'll come on an amendment, but we'll do it at the same time as send it with the document subject.
Sorry about that. Sorry to remember. Someone is on mute and they don't realize.
The last thing is,
and this is because of me, because I let it.
Oh shit.
Okay. I'm unable to search for her, but right now it's slow, so let's just proceed. So let's just look at the different buttons that we have over here. Now, here you can select the different client types that you want to see. I'm assuming that there will be realtors who will be having hundreds of clients in their list. So you sort your clients basically like this. No worries, Aline. And so this is basically to sort your clients. Once you sort them, you can also sort them based on their name. Right now, we had a while ago, we had a question about swapping the first and last name. And I just saw that there's a new option over here where you can swap the first and last name. Let's see how that goes. Let's swap the first and last names for these 3 clients. They are active only. Swap first and last name. And now you can swap the first and last name. So yes, the system has this feature of swapping first and last name. I don't remember who asked that question a while ago, but that definitely is there. We have lots of questions coming in the Q&A. We'll be taking this towards in the last 15 minutes. We are at 12:36, 37 right now. We'll just quickly finish with the next few things that we have, and then we'll come to your questions. Okay, so that's how we change the first and last name. Right now, we've taken care of the table, the expansion of searches, the different types of searches we create, the legend and what it means, the combination of all these icons and what they mean. We've imported clients from Matrix as well. Customize all emails. So now, for example, you want to customize all the PCS emails that go to a client. You don't want it to say this particular thing has changed, blah, blah, blah. What you want to do is you want to come here, you want to change those details. And what you see over here is message when search results exist. This is what happens when there are search results in your PCS and that email is going out. This is what they will see. You can come in, don't change any of this. whatever is within the dollar sign. This is basically an identifier for a field in your PCS search. So don't change any of this. But if you want to change anything, you can make those changes over here. Let's preview and see what it shows. Your PCS account has been activated. So message when the search results exist, it's going to show that. Let me just quickly close it. So this is what the main email is going to look like. So you can make those changes here. You can, instead of welcome to private client services, you can say, hi, how's it going? So make those changes. Let's see what the preview says. Oh. Okay, it didn't say hi, but let's just reset it. Okay, reset. Let's try and change. Okay, right now the results are empty, and that's why it didn't show hi. Okay, let's preview this. Results are empty, and it does say hi. So yes, so you can decide what happens when the results are empty, what happens when there is a result. So there are different preconditions to every email that goes out as a PCS email to your client. So to make all those changes, to essentially craft your email every time a PCS email goes out, you come in over here and try and change things. Don't change the dollar signs, and then preview it before it goes out and save it. And that's how your email will be represented. We are having a string of questions coming in, and we will look into that in the next 5 minutes. So that's how you customize all your emails. Make sure you preview it before you send it. Don't just save anything. If you made any changes, the system will tell you. That's the reason why the preview option has been given at every stage, so that then you don't make any mistake. So make use of that. Expand all searches essentially just expands all the searches that you have created for your clients. There won't be any name if that search belongs to the client that's mentioned above. If you have hundreds of clients and thousands of searches, I don't know if you want to do that, but yeah, you have that option. And that does that. Swap first name and last name. We saw what happens there. If you want to search for a particular client, you have hundreds of clients, just enter the name. And yeah, that should bring up the client. So we've taken care of most of the things that we see under the clients tab. Now we will go and look at every question that has come in. This question is from Stacy. I've read this question before, but I'm going to read it again. How do we view the portal results and do stuff or see what they have marked things? How can we see what a client has marked as potentials or favorites? Darren, if you are with us, do you know if there's a way that we can see the favorites that the client have put up? Or is it something that's just for the clients to have at their end? I'm not really sure, because they do have an option to select favorites. And I haven't had clients really selecting favorites, so I don't know if people receive an email. If someone has an answer for that right now, and if you can help Stacy out, that'll be great. But if not, I will have that looked into, Stacy.
Hi, Antarang. I can offer a suggestion there.
Yes, please.
Within this grid, when you're looking at your clients, the ones that are the most active, that have logged in the latest, will show up at the top.
Okay.
And that's one way to know instantly, what are the clients that actually are serious about buying. And then when you look at their search, you can see how many times they've looked at specific listings, how many times, whether
okay,
they
so will they be able to see those changes done under current search summary? Or where will they see whatever favorites they add?
Okay, look under the mirror of what the client sees. So go back to your clients list.
Yes.
On one of the green icons, click the icon.
Okay, that's where they see it. Yeah, so fantastic.
One more thing they're entering, go from thumbnails and go to list. It's much easier to see this.
Okay, let's just do that. Just give me a moment. Thumbnails to table view.
Okay, and now as you scroll up, you see they've looked at these listings 0 times.
Yeah.
But for a real true client that's ready to buy, you'll see they've looked at every listing, some of them 10 or 20 times. So you'll be able to hone in very quickly on what type of properties they're interested in and how serious they are about buying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We have a point. Thank you, Jan, and thank you, Darren, and thank you. There was somebody else. Okay. Heather, thank you. Brenda asks, I receive a notification on my email that the client has received an update and the message prompts me to view. When I press the link, I'm taken to the main page with no specifics. Can you please recap that? So Darren, what she's essentially trying to say here is that when she clicks on an update that's coming from the system as to if their clients have made any change, when she clicks on the link, she's taken to the main page and nothing happens. So it might be an issue that is in particular to you, Brenda. For such cases, if you can please send us a screenshot, maybe we can take these things better from that point on. So I understand that you might have had an issue in the past.
Hey,
Okay,
Anton, this is Joelle from CAR. I'm so sorry to interrupt here, but I wonder if maybe we could take Brenda offline with this one, because it is something that has happened to our members before, and we're happy to sort it out for her.
Oh, sure. That's great. And thank you, Joelle. I think Linda has already responded in the chat box, which is great. So this will be taken care of. But they say, and this is for the other attendees in the session, they're saying that it could be a pop-up blocker. So if you could make sure that there's no pop-up blocker on there, maybe this will help. And it's also recommended that you use the Chrome browser for your Xposure activities because it's more compatible and suitable here. You can use any browser, but Chrome does really help. Okay. For whoever who's having issues, I have the same issue, so there are instructions somewhere to remedy this. Yes, it's probably a problem that many of our members are seeing in the system right now. I'm glad that this has come up in this session, and we will definitely look into it and try and have this resolved as soon as we can. So Stacy, we saw how we can see what actions the clients are taking at their end. The next question is from Carmen. Do the clients know if we deactivate them? Now, this is essentially a very good question. Darren, do you have an answer for this? I'm not sure, because I haven't really had any client who I have deactivated or who I'm in touch with. Sorry.
Entering, not to my knowledge, if clients unsubscribe themselves, of course, they're deactivated. If the agent goes and deactivates them, I'm 90% sure they do not get notified of that deactivation, but I can check on that.
Okay. It's a great point, Carmen. It's a good question. Right now, we are almost sure that they don't know, because the system has been designed in a way to give you the full control and not the client. So 90%, they don't get that email. But if there is something that's happening in this regard, I will let you know. Could we add our picture to the signature? We can try this. I haven't done that, but let's just customize all emails. Could we add a picture? It does not have an option to add a picture, but there's a chance that it might just let us copy and paste a picture. Let's see. Nope, it didn't let me copy and paste a picture. So it doesn't let you add a picture in your signature at this moment for your PCS.
And that's a feature coming.
Okay, that's great, Darren. So Darren says that it's a feature that will come in. So you will be able to customize your signatures further. You will be able to customize all your PCS emails that go out to your clients, depending on what criteria there is. So if they are empty, this email. If there are search results, that email. It really depends. And it's up to you to decide. There's another question that's coming in. Yes, Jody. This is because I did not know, and I'm sorry for that. But Darren has just confirmed that they will not be receiving that email. We're not really sure because right now I haven't tested the system, but yeah, we will let you know if they receive an email. Let's go to our next question. How do I add another person, additional email to a search that is already set up and activated? So for that, if I have to add another person, let's go to a search that's already been created. Yes, that's great. If people can test the system at their end and see if there's anything that they find is not conducive to their daily activities, they please let us know. And we have another point. I'm so sorry for this. Okay, we'll come back to that. So to answer how do I add a person, let's go to the search and go to settings. And here you can add any additional email IDs that you want to add to a particular search for that client. As you can see that this is only true for this search. You can also select this and create a new search, delete the search, activate or deactivate the search. But yeah, if you want to add another email ID for that particular search, it goes in here. So I hope I've answered that question. Let's go to our next. How can we see what a client has marked as potentials or favorites? We saw that. I have tried entering an email address, and even though I don't see the name of this client in the search, I'm getting a message that the email address has been entered more than once. Not sure how to fix it, as I don't see that email addresses. I don't see that email address entered previously. It's not letting me set up the PCS search. I'm sorry that you haven't been able to set up the PCS search in this case. If you can send us a screenshot of the error that you're getting, we can probably have that looked into. In the chat room, I'll quickly give my email ID. And please feel free to email me there. Okay, we have another question coming from Joel. A good way to test it is to use an email address that is not associated with Xposure. I created a fake email for these purposes. Okay.
Oh, I apologize, Antrang. I was responding to Jody, I believe.
No, please go ahead.
It was just if you are testing the system to use a separate email account, that is so that it's not your business account that Xposure would recognize as you. That was my recommendation.
Okay. That's great. I have put in my email ID over here. So if you have any questions regarding this, there were a couple of questions, especially one where you are not able to click on the email that you receive from the system, and then it takes you to the basic screen and nothing happens. For all those questions, the email ID is right there. Kindly send us a screenshot so we better know how to cater to this issue. So if you can do that, that'll be great. The other question that we had, to which we said that if you can write to us, would be, or we will get back to you, would be on, where's that question gone? Whether they receive an email when we deactivate a particular search for a client. So yeah, Carmen, I will get back to you on that one with an answer. If there's any more question, kindly let us know at this point. We will be having Xposure sessions every month. We may try to increase the frequency depending on whether you could take anything from this session in terms of the clients tab. If you have any feedback with regards to my approach with this session, if you have any feedback with respect to the kind of things that you would like to see in this session, please write to me. My email ID is right there. In the next sessions, we will again be having people from different boards, the staff from different boards. So if you have any questions regarding Xposure, if you feel that there should be a particular change that you would love to see on this platform, use this this session to share those details. We're looking for the best way to have these sessions. I don't think the webinar is the best way to do it. It should be an interactive session when everybody is able to speak and able to share their views. So we will look into that option as well. For now, this is what the client tab is. If you have any questions, write to us. Other than that, we would like to conclude the session for today. Is there any point, Darren, that you want to mention before we end this session today?
The only point, I guess, would be for another session, but I think for agents that don't want to have this much in-depth work to do with PCS, there's simpler ways to do it. For example, they can just do a search under the search tab like they normally would and send it to PCS. Add the client's name. Another way to do it is just to send listings to a client through the search tab and let them sign up to PCS themselves. So two easy ways to set this up that don't require quite as much in-depth knowledge to get going, at least.
So let me just try one thing. And now that you've mentioned about sending this, when I email a gateway link to, as you can see, all my clients appear over here. So this is, again, as Darren mentioned, that if you want to send out emails, just a list of listings that you want to send out, you can edit those listings. We can see how to edit listings, how to add listings, copy paste listings, what you can do with the search tab in the next session. But remember that if you've created a client under the clients tab, they're all going to appear over here when you try to send them a gateway link. And at this stage, they can decide whether they want to become a PCS client with you. So all of these capabilities are available in the system, and they can be used better depending on what situation you're in. So we'd request you to get into the system, try the clients tab, and see how different features work. There are different combinations that you can work with and use it to the full potential that the system has. Let's just try this out. It doesn't have an option to add picture. No. So another point that I wanted to mention before we go was you will be able to add pictures to your signatures. There will be more customizability that will be coming in. So if there's anything that you want, please let us know. There's another question. How to adjust the main search page to keep the history or other frequently needed columns as a permanent column? That's a good question. When you come to the search panel, let's just start a search quickly. Search. Now, if you want to change any of these columns, go to Actions and go to Add or Remove Columns. At this stage, you'll be able to add all the different fields that you have in the system. So say, for example, I want to add, city. I select that. And as you can see, city has been added as the last column. If you want to change this layout, you want to move city to what's already there, but yeah. And if I want to get rid of area, I go into Actions, add or remove columns. Let's remove area quickly. You see that the area column is gone. So that's how you adjust your column. Then you can go and save current column layout. And you can also select, make this my default layout. That will set this to default. Let me name it at default. And I click save. This name is being used. Okay, default 2. So that's my default 2. Now, whenever I come into the system, it's going to be like this. If I want to change it, I go to load or manage column layouts. There are several layouts that I have depending on different types of clients that I may have, and I can make those changes over here. Before people leave, there's one thing that I've forgotten, and that is to take attendance. I think I was just too involved with this. Before leaving, if people haven't left yet, if you can just enter your name at the end in the chat room, that'll be great. Thank you so much. I see that there are people who are putting their names in. That's fantastic. That means we still had people with us through the session. Just 2 more minutes for 11. For 1. We will finish the session in the next 2 minutes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Antarang.
Joel, if you have any points before everyone leaves.
No, I think you covered it all. It looks great. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. For any, again, I'm repeating this. If you have any feedback, please write to us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anita. And we will be sharing details for the next session very soon. Kindly enter your name before you leave so that then we have a record of people who attended. Okay, so that's about it. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. I hope you have a great week ahead. With that, we'll be ending the session now.